We're finally going to get some much needed rain, very, very beneficial rain this week. I think Tuesday is going to be our first big rainmaker, which is going to be nice. And then another rainmaker later this week. And we've seen some changes in the trends with that, so I'll kind of break down what we're seeing now because I know a lot of folks have looked at probably their weather app on their phone and they're like, hold on, why is it saying snow? And current trends are not showing snow here, and even the chance for a mix has dropped a bit. It all is going to be determined on if we get a deep enough cold air mass to sink south into our area. So I'll talk more about what we're seeing right now. Temperatures have been trending a bit warmer for us, though, at the end of this week. It's still going to be cold out there, but warm enough to where it's going to be harder for us to get snow. So we'll break all that down. But this is our setup for the start of this week and into Tuesday. We're going to have this trough that dives south after the trough that we're seeing into Sunday. That's bringing some scattered light rain for Sunday evening through very early Monday morning. Then Monday we get a break, and then Tuesday we have this system that moves in, and this is going to feed off some of that moisture offshore, and that's going to allow for us to see a good dosage of rain throughout the day on Tuesday. And this is going to be widespread rain. This could be heavy at times. And we haven't seen a whole lot of heavy rain recently. And so, like I mentioned, this is going to be really beneficial. We need rain. I know you probably are. I don't know if you're a fan of the rain necessarily, but I bet you can attest to we haven't had that much rain.
We haven't had rain. Yeah, we haven't had rain. It seems like it's been fairly dry. It's been really cold. Yeah. And it just seems like, from what you're saying, this is going to be cold and wet and sad and not snow.
Exactly, and not snow. When it gets this cold, you're like, I kind of want some snow to supplement it, to make it feel like wintry out there.
It's almost better.
Yeah, but it's not. We're not really going to see much of that. Now I'll break down the upper level pattern now to kind of walk you through what we'll see this week. You can see starting tonight, we have this trough. It's not as deep as the one that we'll see into Tuesday, but it's still deep enough to where we have that lift for some scattered light rain ahead of this front. It's not going to bring a big cool down or anything, but will bring a small change into the start of the week. And then you see that deeper trough building back to the west. Remember I talk about that U shape. That deeper U shape is that stronger trough moving through. Now it is tilted in a way that's not as conducive for widespread, significant, severe weather, but I think it will bring a good dosage of rain to not only us this week for Tuesday, but also many parts of the south and even back towards Texas as well. Unfortunately, Texas has seen a lot of heavy rain, I feel like, over the past couple of weeks.
Right, we just talked about that
talked about that last week, and then they also was looking last night, and a flash flood warning back in the same region near Austin, Texas. So it's just, not necessarily need the rain, but they're going to have more rain, more heavy rain likely with this system moving in. And this system's going to move to the north and east pretty quickly. It will lift as it moves to the north and east, but again, bring a lot of rain to the region into Tuesday. Wednesday, we see a break in our pattern. You see more of that zonal flow, which is more of that west to east flow that you see. No big U shape dipping over the area. It's just a kind of a left to right motion there. And then you see through Thursday and Friday, we have another trough that builds in. That next trough, that next U shape that builds in back to our west, that will bring another rain chance likely into Saturday. So a couple of big rain makers this week and much needed rain too. Okay. So let's talk about Futurecast, because we got pinks on this thing here. And
anytime we see pink, we're like, what's happening?
Pinks and light blues, you think of, the mixed precip and the snow. So let's talk through this. Let's start with early Tuesday morning. So this is our next big rainmaker. It's this system that's going to feed off some moisture from those ocean waters and bring in deep moisture to provide for a lot of rain throughout the day. It's early Tuesday morning, it starts to build in. Then by around 5 a.m., so getting into the morning commute on Tuesday, seeing more of this widespread rain. So, and I mentioned this yesterday on Saturday during the newscast, that it's looking more likely that this is going to really impact that morning commute Tuesday. And it's still looking like Tuesday morning commute is going to be messy. So go ahead and make sure you're leaving extra time. If you budget typically 45 minutes, maybe budget an hour to hour 15 to get to your destination, because we're going to have likely widespread rain into Tuesday morning. And then it will continue to funnel in throughout the course of the day. This system's going to kind of sit over us. It looks like a mess, and this model is typically pretty aggressive with rain chances, so I'm not surprised it looks like this, but expect light to moderate rain with pockets of heavier rain mixed in throughout the day on Tuesday. But by 1, 2 o'clock, and this is a change from yesterday, on Saturday it was showing maybe like a 4 or 5 p.m. exit. Now it's showing closer to 1, 2 o'clock for these showers to exit. So we could still see some small changes, but I think certainly the first part of the day on Tuesday, pretty wet across our area. That's where we're seeing the majority of the rain, and then Wednesday looks really nice, more sunshine, but unfortunately more cold. So this is 8 a.m. Wednesday, clear skies, but then temperatures on the chilly side. So look at this. This is the next week in terms of rain. And yeah, you see Raleigh up to 2.5 inches of rain now over the next week. And we haven't seen this recently. I think last week we talked about the rain over our area. There was more back to the west, back towards Texas, but we had like maybe 1/2 inch. That's not going to do much for us in terms of breaking our drought conditions or helping with our drought conditions. This is more significant. Look at this. Down towards Mobile, Pensacola, seeing around 3 to 4 inches of rain. And then up through Atlanta, 3 to 4 inches. Louisiana seeing up to 5 inches. Houston up to 5 inches. And we're going to see around 2.5 to maybe even as high as 3 inches over our area through the next 7 days. That's going to come from 2 weather makers, the one Tuesday and the one later this week. And I'll talk more about when to expect that. But
a lot going on.
A lot of rain.
Maybe this will help our drought conditions.
I think it will.
Okay.
You know, we're going to kind of talk about what we're seeing with the drought conditions right now. It's worsened, so this is going to be beneficial. That does not mean if we get the 2.5 to 3 inches of rain, it's going to break the drought, but it's certainly going to provide for some improvements. Still a lot of the state under the moderate drought conditions, 89% abnormally dry, and then you have that severe drought over parts of our area, over parts of Nash County, and areas to the south and east as well. So, we're still watching for the drought conditions to continue if we don't get some significant rain over the next couple of weeks, and this rain this next week is really going to help out with that. Not completely solve it, but it will help with it. All right, so this is fun.
Yay!
The tower lighting's coming up on Wednesday evening, so I know I've talked about the rain a lot, but have you been to the tower lighting before?
I have, no. So growing up here, I know what it is.
Yeah.
I've seen it, but I have never been part of this team, to do this. We've only been here, 5 months, 6 months at this point. We're fairly new, so this is a new thing to be a part of, which is really exciting.
And it's very, very exciting because it's not just the tower on Western, but it's also, we're lighting 2 other towers in Durham and Rocky Mount as well. And so we'll have multiple sites for folks to see across our area, and it's looking much improved weather-wise into that evening. It's still going to be cold out there, so if you're going to watch outside in person, it's going to be cold, 30s and 40s most likely, but we'll have clear skies since that system that brought the rain will be gone. So looking good for viewing. It's just going to be cold. And I said yesterday multiple times, it's going to be comfortable. Well, I like comfortable as a kind of
in comparison to what?
I know, right? Because I feel like comfortable temperature-wise is probably 60s and 70s when you think about comfortable temperatures.
Yeah.
But I mean, comfortable as in it's not going to be breezy. It's not going to be, raining while you're out there. It'll be comfortable in that you can, if you're wearing the layers, then you'll be okay.
Okay.
That still means you need to have a coat.
Right.
Don't be like me and literally, I know what the temperature is going to be. I literally look at it and I'm forecasting it, and I still neglect to bring a coat. But I did bring one today. I brought a heavy coat today.
Okay,
so
there you go.
I'm
You're
prepared,
learning.
and I'm going to keep that in my car so I do not get caught in the issue again.
There you go.
Staying cooler all the way through this week, and this is why I mentioned, me having the coat a lot more often. I'm also traveling to Denver later this week, and it will be even colder there.
Good luck.
So I'm trying to remember the coat. Definitely will bring that. But 40s and 50s this week, that's not really going to change much because we don't really see a big change in our overall pattern. I showed you multiple of those big U-shaped troughs moving through, although they're not going to be as significantly deep enough to bring us teens and 20s. The overall pattern stays deep enough over our area where we're getting the repetitive cold air masses, and they stay over the area. So 40s and 50s for highs this week. Our coldest days looking like Tuesday and Friday. And then our overnight lows will likely stay in the 20s and 30s. I think getting down to the teens will be less likely. So Saturday mornings lows that we saw, looking less likely over the next week. But I will show you that trend in the next week. It is still trending pretty cold, so we'll talk about that. I want to briefly show Saturday real quick. What I did is I just showed Saturday here. I pulled that up, look at the forecast modeling. So this is just kind of the raw data in terms of showing you what kind of precipitation is expected Saturday. And you can see the snow and the mixed precipitation staying well to our north now. Of course, there's no surface analysis here, but it looks like that area of low pressure will likely be at this point just east of New Jersey. You're kind of seeing those swirling winds just east of New Jersey here. And so that's likely where the low will be, likely a front draped down to the south and west here, and then all that rain associated with it. But again, rain. This is showing rain for now.
For anyone who doesn't know what this is.
This is rain. The pink, if we have pinks and blues, that would be more of the snow mix situation, but it's just looking less likely. That does not mean we won't see changes. Chris Michaels made a great video. It's on his Facebook, so go check it out. He talks about forecast models in more depth. Great. And when you're this far out, there are so many changes. And what folks will do is they'll the social media pages or whatever, they'll see the crazy forecast model and they're like, wow, that's eye-catching. And they'll take a screen grab of it and immediately post it. And it's like, and so just be careful. You know, I'm not saying that they're trying to do it in a malicious way, but it's just, it's likely for us, you know, just for eye-catching purposes.
For the grabs.
It's for the grabs.
Right.
And if there's something significant in terms of big impacts from mixed precipitation or snow, we are going to let you know. And right now we're not expecting that. It's mainly going to be rain over the next week, and it's beneficial rain too. So let's just enjoy that. And if we have anything more than that,
if it will snow, we will let you know.
Yes, you will know well ahead of time. And next week, precipitation is looking more likely in the next few weeks. And you know, with our cooler than average trend here in the next week or so, or the next couple of weeks, I should say, with a below normal trend for our area, we are going to see these colder air masses move in. So it doesn't mean that snow or a mix is unlikely over the next few weeks, but it's just right now over the next 7 days, which is primarily what we'll look at for near-term forecast model. I mean, even 7 days is kind of far out to look. You know, we're not expecting any snow. So now we're going to shift gears here. We'll talk about this reported photo first, and then we'll kind of go into some other stuff that's been impacting the area. Yeah. This was from earlier this week, so I'll start with this.
Yeah, this is really cool.
This is from John Kelly. They're called cloud streets sometimes, and these are these alto cumulus clouds. These are formed by you have atmospheric instability on top of upper level winds impacting this, and because of that overall pattern, it makes these cool formations. We got this one from Raleigh, and then we also have this one from Clayton.
Oh,
Robert
cool.
sent this in. I think this was around Thanksgiving when folks were seeing this, or maybe just the day before around that time frame. So very, very cool photos. Thanks so much for sending those in, because we love to see those photos. Yes. And we also, this weekend, have seen impactful snow towards much of the upper Midwest and also the Great Lakes region as well. It's impacted travel, so it's been a hard thing, I know, for a lot of folks, but you know, you can see here in this video, where's this out of?
This is out of Ohio.
Okay.
So we are very fortunate that we get to get video from a lot of NBC affiliates, CNN affiliates, so we were able to get this video out of Ohio. Just obviously pretty treacherous looking right there on the roadways. Thankfully, this is not one of those crazy videos where you see a tractor trailer sliding off the road, right? But I mean, we did see that in some cases. I also want to show y'all too. This is Milwaukee. So again, not looking super duper treacherous there, but you can see street sweepers out. Nothing like what we've seen. And then also in New York as well. Look at that. That's just a beautiful scene, especially with the Christmas tree. It just really sets the scene there.
Yeah, right after Thanksgiving when folks are like really wanting to feel the winter spirit, or like the Christmas spirit kick in. Having a good little snowfall that's hopefully not too impactful for some areas is nice to see.
Exactly. And this is just my personal favorite.
Okay.
Oh man, this is from the Chicago Zoo, the Brookfield Chicago Zoo. How cute is that? A bear just rolling around, having a blast in the snow. I feel like these videos that we see when we see animals just kind of out and about, they're just, let me bring that one back because it's just so cute. When we see animals just rolling around in the snow, it just makes me so happy. And it makes me wonder, like, is this the first time this bear has ever experienced snow?
Maybe,
You know,
depending on how young the bear is.
Yeah.
You know, this could be a first snow, and I too would like I would be like this if it was my first snow. You know, I have to find this video. Maybe I can find it and show it next week. But when I grew up with a Bichon Frise puppy.
Okay.
And his first snow, he was like
Going
sprinting around the yard and loved it. Now, even when he was older and was oh my gosh.
I know. I was like, I need to get this up there. Look at that guy. Looks like a bison.
This is not the bison's first snow, I'm feeling.
He's having a blast. Isn't that so cool?
But yeah, awesome to see that, and the pets really, really enjoy snow. Most pets do, unless they got the thin coats. But
right, we've got 3 cats at my mom's right now, and 2 of them are kittens. They're less than 6 months old. So if we do get literally anything, no matter what it is, we have a plan to just put them out and video because I'm sure they'll be walking around like this. It'll be so fun to see.
Gotta enjoy that first snow. So yeah, snow, big impact on the upper Midwest, Great Lakes region. That's finally kind of moving out to the New England states, and that will eventually move out. But pretty impactful. I mean, travel's been impacted big time. I know you've been watching throughout the day those delays and stuff.
We've been monitoring delays. I mean, I think at last check there were several thousand around the United States. So granted, there has been some solar storms going on, and that has impacted, I think, around 6,000 Airbus jets.
Wow, yeah.
So they're having to go and fix the technology while you have this massive amount of people who are traveling over the weekend. It's a recipe for disaster at this point, right?
Yep.
So that's definitely something that we're monitoring. But at least here in North Carolina, we haven't seen the weather impact flights here, so to say.
Right.
People are traveling other places, though. Different story.
Yeah, and I think I ended up, because I travel for Thanksgiving, I think I found I guess I was in kind of a sweet spot for traveling, because I actually had a lower number of people than I typically would see at this time of the year for traveling, but it probably was just a window of time that I was traveling. That I traveled on Friday to come back, and it was the flights were not busy at all. But I think Saturday and Sunday definitely picked up because people are leaving to go back home.
Yeah, especially
on top of the winter storm, on top of the solar situation. Like, it's just multiple things kind of compounding. So hopefully your family and friends have been able to, return home safely. If not today, then hopefully, and this is filmed on Sunday, and hopefully very soon. I hope you enjoyed your Thanksgiving as well. I want to show one more photo to close this out. This is going to be a reported photo sent in yesterday. We'll end with a sunset. This is Clint Shedrick out of New Bern sent this in. He's doing some camping out there, and had some high clouds over there, but otherwise it was a very peaceful end of the day yesterday. So loved this photo. Showed this yesterday on air and had to show it again. It's great to see. So yeah, really cool. WRAL.com/report it. Best way for you to share those photos with us. Make sure to stay up to date on those rain chances, especially Tuesday and Saturday are those biggest rain chances right now. Right. So we're going to have frequent updates. Of course, the WRAL weather app, your best friend to look at those rain chances. And it adjusts by your location as well, which is super key. Have you been able to do that yet?
Yeah, I think we've been able to, me and my mom use it. And so we'll be able to look, okay, she's got a place down at Holden Beach. So if we're going to Holden Beach, we'll be able to say, okay, what's going on at Holden Beach versus here? How do I determine when I leave? It's great if you're traveling really anywhere.
Exactly. You can have it set to your current location, and then you can also just set it to have it another location on the app that you can just check in real quick and see what the weather's like. So make sure to have that weather app. Download it, have that location turned on so you get all the latest notifications and everything. And also make sure to like and subscribe to this channel as well. We're going to continue to do these. I won't be here next week, so we won't have one next weekend because I'll be in Denver visiting my brother. But after that, we'll keep doing these, and we'll be churning out some more content to let you know kind of what's going on throughout the next week, and also look at some cool weather video as well.